think I could be as good as him? Get his kind of respect?
Your father? Sure, boss. If you want.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're going to be taking an extensive look at both The Penguin and The Sopranos to see how one carries the torch from the other. There will be major spoilers for both of these shows in this video essay, so consider this your warning.
What line of work are you in?
Waste management consultant.
The immediate connections.
The morning of the day I got sick, I've been thinking. It's good to be in something from the ground floor. I came too late for that. I know. But lately, I'm getting the feeling that I came in at the end.
A spiritual successor can be considered something that either pays homage to or shares numerous details in common with something that specifically came before it. Whether it's a matching aesthetic or a similar type of character, it kickstarts that déjà vu feeling in your brain. It reminds you so much about something else that you can't help but start drawing the comparisons.
Did you have these feelings of loss more acutely in the hours before you collapsed?
I don't know.
But while these things might be similar to each other, they don't exactly share the same continuity, meaning these works of art aren't directly connected like they're part of the same universe.
What part of the boot you from, hun?
Dr. Melfi. My father's people were from Caserta.
Avellino. My mother would have loved it if you and I got together.
A real case could be made for The Penguin being a spiritual successor to The Sopranos. From the get-go, people were quick to point out all of the many similarities between them. In fact, it was kind of glaringly obvious. You'd kind of have to be living under a rock to not see everyone comparing the two. Point is, it wasn't exactly a secret that this The Batman spin-off was paying homage to one of the greatest TV shows ever made. The DNA of the 21-time Emmy Award-winning series is practically hardwired into the foundation of The Penguin.
You got some big shoes to fill. Not too big. I mean, manageable shows.
For starters, The Penguin focuses on Oz Cobb, a small-time gangster embedded in the Falcone crime organization with dreams of taking over and running the streets of Gotham. Now, you might say that this premise is a little bit different from The Sopranos, and you're not wrong. The Sopranos focuses on Tony Soprano, a big-time mobster embedded in the DeMeo crime family, who is already in a prominent position of power in the very beginning of the show.
Jackie, you're the boss. Tell him to leave Conley Trucking alone.
Didn't know it was a Conley truck.
There are some more differences here and there, sure, but when you look at the bigger picture, trying to find things that set them apart is really just splitting hairs. At the end of the day, both of these HBO originals feature morally gray mobsters with distinct accents making their bones. And the blurred lines between what goes on in their personal and professional lives are put on full display for the millions of viewers tuning in. And the fact that both shows share some of the same actors amidst their cast is an added bonus.
Make sure you eat. You too.
Me? No, thank you. I'm 8 pounds away from my goal, and I'm fitting in that dress if it kills me.
Jesus, can we ever talk about anything in this family besides food?
Even HBO themselves clearly think there's something special connecting these two shows. HBO's official social media handles promoted the release of Penguin by posting material directly invoking Sopranos. Whether it was a collage of both shows' dynamic duos or an edit of The Penguin in the style of The Sopranos intro, they were trying to get people's attention. But some social media synergy and parallels between premises obviously isn't enough to call this a case closed. So let's unpack more of the nitty-gritty details.
In my neighborhood, they throw a parade in his honor. A friggin' parade. I mean, it wasn't fancy, but it was a gesture. To show love of what he meant. Can you imagine to be remembered like that?
The mob's cycles of violence and backstabbing.
Yo! What do you got? Wet shoes! You chose this life. You don't want to work in a rain, try for the f***ing Yankees.
Sorry to take off the rose-tinted glasses, but being in the mob kinda sucks. Shocking. Sure, it looks cool for a while, but in the end, nobody's really safe when you're in this line of work. Both shows make that crystal clear. Numerous characters are killed left and right. Some are strategic, and some are senseless. There are explosions, gunshots, stabbings, you name it. There's also the reality that your word means nothing.
Would that make it easier for you to take what's mine? Or is this you what you want.
We build up these ideas of honesty and integrity, but those don't always end up shining through in the end. The hard truth is that people don't always say what they mean or mean what they say.
You got options. Don't let anyone ever make you feel like you don't have any options, because you got friends. Look at me. Friends that would die for you. You understand me? Friends.
Yeah, I know.
A major plot thread in The Sopranos, for example, is the looming danger of close friends and allies secretly being FBI informants. Heck, it takes Tony 2 seasons to grapple with the truth that his buddy Big Pussy is a rat.
What do you got for me?
Bumpin' Sarro.
Pussy? What about him?
He's wired for sound.
What?
I got it from a good source I thought you should know. All right? I'm sorry. I know you like him.
Like him?
On the other end, loyalty is always in question when you're dealing with Oz Cobb. If lying were a superpower, it'd be his. He lies to Sofia Falcone about who killed her brother Alberto, and simultaneously tries to play both the Maronis and the Falcones against each other.
Have you asked him about my brother?
I thought we agreed.
Have you heard from Alberto?
Sophia, please.
Al?
He went out last night, he refused his bodyguards, and he never came home.
Sophie, that's enough.
I better get out of your hair.
He's a slick devil who says what you want to hear, and then, when the chips are down, reveals his real self. Violence and betrayal are intrinsically tied together, and there are 2 scenes from both shows that really hammer that theme home.
Hey, I'm not sure, but I think I just saw Fabian Petrulio.
Refresh my memory.
What's he, before your time? Made guy. He flipped about 10 years ago and he got busted for peddling H.
In the episode College, Tony spots Fabian Petrulio, one of those aforementioned rats, while visiting colleges with his daughter Meadow. We'll cut to the chase and say that Tony ultimately kills Petrulio in the end with a wire. And in the episode A Great or Little Thing, something similar plays out down in Gotham.
What did you say to get Link to turn? I'm sure you promised him something.
Yeah, well, you and the Dilo never would. Shot. A chance to be somebody.
An underling by the name of George McHugh snuffs out his boss, Donnie Boy Sullivan, with a wire, the same way as Tony. Look, we're not trying to say that The Sopranos trademarked a specific way to kill people. This technique has been shown in movies and TV shows countless times before. But intentional or not, this blink and you'll miss it scene from Penguin still feels like a cool callback to Sopranos.
You know what people will do to push that down? They'll do anything. Anything to push down that feeling.
You think I don't understand that?
Sorry, it's just sorta hard to shake it. It's like they share a similar frequency when it comes to murder. Another cool thing is that you can read between the lines here, because if you look closely, there are statements that are being made with these killings.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
I don't know. Got Meadow here. Jesus.
By taking Petrulio down, Tony isn't just getting revenge. He's making sure this backstabbing rat doesn't become a problem later. He's making sure that his way of life isn't disrupted. Essentially, that way he keeps things the same.
Dad, you're being honest with me, right?
Pretty soon here you're gonna start hurting my feelings.
But that's not what's happening with Donnie Boy. That murder is a very clear example of new blood trying to rise to the top. It's not an act of self-preservation like it is with Tony. It's an act of destruction.
Listen, I try to stay out of these kinds of things, right? But the headline is, it's the same old war. It's the Maronis and Falcones ripping each other off. The Maronis kill Sophia's brother. She goes full cycle.
If anything, with the way Oz gives a rousing speech, it's a call to action, a rallying cry. Both examples show how this kind of life costs you.
You and your kind, you're so busy filling your own plate. You don't see that everyone around you is starving. You got no idea what it feels like, born into nothing.
The importance of fire. Yeah, I know. What does that mean? Why is fire important? Is it just because both shows occasionally have fire in them? That's like saying that Taxi Driver and The Muppets Take Manhattan are connected because both movies have New York City in them.
New York! Oh, look at everything here! Well, we made it, guys. We're really here. Always good. What a great looking place. Yeah, and it's filled with New Yorkers. Look at them all.
But before you weaponize your keyboards, just let us explain what we mean. Because, yeah, both shows have stuff that goes kablooey, but there's more here. each show uses fire to say something important.
You ready to head back to the house? Maybe warm yourself by a nice fire, light an expensive cigar.
In Homecoming, Oz snuffs Nadia and Taj Maroney out in flames. And when Salvatore Maroney tries to get revenge in a later episode, Oz enrages him with the gruesome details. In his speech, he mentions the distinct smell of burning hair.
The smell of hair. I didn't anticipate that. It's real distinct. Tell me, Sal, did your beautiful wife Nadia, did she wear a special kind of hairspray or something? Because, man, she went up like a tinderbox.
Sopranos fans are no strangers to the smell of burning hair. Well, I mean, because it's a detail from the show. I don't mean that Sopranos fans regularly have their hair in flames or anything. Anyway, Carmine Lubertazzi Sr. smelled burning hair right before he croaked.
Carmine, you all right? You barely touched your egg salad.
Too much gherkins. Smell that?
What?
Burning hair.
I smell cut grass.
And later on, when Tony's girlfriend Valentina lost her hair in an accidental fire, the smell got mentioned again. Fire and its after effects are a constant reminder of death and loss. Naturally, that sounds like a no-brainer, but both shows also present fire in another way. Fire can also be seen as a form of freedom, too.
I'm leaving Gotham. Mr. Zhao. There's nothing left for me here. But my home, my territories, my businesses can all be yours. Well, not all of yours. Whichever one of you brings me Oz first.
Having renounced the Falcone name, Sofia Gigante gets liberated when she burns down the family mansion. There's still that sense of loss, but it's not really a bad loss for her. Instead, it's freeing. AJ Soprano also gets that kind of a rush when his expensive Nissan Xterra accidentally goes up in flames. It's definitely bad in the moment, but AJ just laughs it off later after the fact, because for him, it's one less material object to dwell on. Sophia and AJ, while both Nepo babies at heart, are seemingly freed of some of their burdens through the flames.
The thing is, ever since it blew up, I feel like cleansed or something.
Because it was a polluter.
No. I'm just watching it go.
Mothers and their sons.
Who's there?
It's me, Ma.
Who are you?
Ma, open the door.
Anthony?
Yeah, it's me. Open the door.
You want to know what the opposite of freedom is, though? Nagging mothers. Well, maybe it's not exactly the same, but it's still not great. Parental supervision is prominent here, and in the case of these shows, it's the sons supervising the parents, not the other way around.
You locked the door after you?
Yeah, I did.
You know, somebody called here last night. After dark.
Oh.
You think I'd answer? It was dark out.
Ma, I'll never understand that. The phone is an auditory thing. Dark is an eye thing. I can understand not going out after dark. You get jumped in the shadows, whatever. But not answering the phone after dark?
Oh, listen to him. He knows everything.
This is where the next crop of comparisons start to get really specific. Both Oz and Tony care about their mothers and want to do right by them, but their actions largely go unnoticed by these women.
Oswald, it's too much. No.
Perfect. Suits you, man.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
That's crazy. Wait. Was I expecting you? It's not Sunday, is it?
No, it's...
I didn't get...
No, it's a special occasion. We're gonna leave town for a while.
Both Frances Cobb and Livia Soprano are aloof and intense. For Frances, it's because she has Lewy body dementia, coupled with the depressing trauma of her other two sons dying early on. For Livia, her mind is more sharp, as is her tongue. She constantly nags and berates people. Tony's psychiatrist, Dr. Melfi, actually suggests that Livia has borderline personality disorder.
A pattern of unstable relationships, affective instability. It means intense anxiety, a joylessness. These people's internal phobias are the only things that exist to them. The real world, real people are peripheral. These people have no love or compassion.
As both series go on, we learn that these dotty old ladies are actually a lot more complex than we thought. That's because both of them later conspire to kill their sons. Talk about a plot twist. With Oz, it's because he actually let his brothers die when they were all kids, and she secretly knew about it.
I found this in his coat.
He was with him, Rex. He lied to me. He came home acting all sad, like he was the victim, but he knew. My babies were drowning in those tunnels, and he didn't say a goddamn word.
Frances actually tries killing Oz twice. She would have had it happen when he was young, but instead got cold feet. She then made what she called a deal with the devil. Then, later, when she finally reveals the truth while imprisoned by Sophia, she stabs Oz with a broken bottle. Yeesh, that therapy session went dark.
I know what you did to Jack and Betty. I always known.
Lies. You're getting things confused. It's just your disease talking, Ma.
With Tony, Livia resents him for sticking her inside a retirement home. And when Tony and Uncle Junior are having problems about leadership, she basically plants the idea to kill Tony in Junior's head.
I don't like that kind of talk. Now just stop it. It upsets me. Or I won't tell you anything anymore.
If this is true, Livia, you know what I mean, I'm the boss, for Christ's sake. If I don't act, blood or no...
You see how those cycles of betrayal that we talked about are coming back into play? Yup, Mafia politics will do that. To say that these mothers have a complicated relationship with their sons is a major understatement.
I hate you. I hate you for what you did. I never stopped hating you.
Victor Aguilar and Christopher Moltisanti, the plight of the protégés.
Jesus, Vic, I said no cilantro. It's f***ing everywhere.
I'm sorry.
Might as well shove a bar of goddamn soap in my mouth.
Guns are on the way. Stop picking.
It's actually scary just how similar these two characters are. Like, they even have similar drip. That's kind of a joke, but actually not. They really do have a similar fashion sense. Anyways, though, Victor Aguilar and Christopher Moltisanti are basically one and the same. Both Victor and Christopher started out as drivers for Oz and Tony respectively. Both had aspirations of doing more.
Did you call, what's his name down at Triborough Towers about the Harlem contract?
I got home too late last night. I didn't want to wake the man up.
Did you get up early this morning and call? He's always in his office by 6.
I was nauseous this morning. My mother told me I shouldn't even come in today.
Chrissy wanted his damn arc so bad, and Victor wanted a life beyond Crown Point. Both were taken under their mentors' wings and saw Oz and Tony as father figures. Both had a chance to get out of this life with the women they loved. Victor could have moved to LA with his girlfriend, and Chrissy could have run off with Adriana after learning she was a federal informant.
You should get some flowers. You know, like I got over in Marcus. Really brightens up the brick walls. I don't know. From up here, kind of nice.
While both had their chances, both decided to stay behind. Both chose their mentors. And where did that loyalty get them in the end, though? They both died!
Adriana.
What about her?
Feds.
They didn't just die either. They were both killed by Oz and Tony. They even died in the exact same way, by being choked to death. These murders agonizingly concluded these young men's lives and cemented what Oz and Tony actually are: bad people.
I can't bring you with me this time.
What do you mean?
I mean, that's the thing about family.
Oz?
It's your strength. Oz, it drives you.
Oz Cobb and Tony Soprano, rooting for the bad guys.
It's like the worst Spanish I ever heard.
What?
It's la rata. What is this, Riddler stupid or something? Jesus, look at you two. World's greatest detectives. Am I the only one here knows the difference between L and la? Jesus. No habla español?
So many of us want to see Batman beat Oz into the ground in the Batman Part 2. And so many of us also want to believe that Tony's brains are blown out at the end of The Sopranos. Why? Because our hearts can only take so much, that's why. We love to root for the villain, but at a certain point, we have to be reminded that, oh yeah, we're watching a show about monsters.
Jesus Christ, I thought you'd be pleased I didn't hand you a diagnosis of the clap.
And these monsters happen to have so much in common. Colin Farrell, the Academy Award nominee who's buried underneath all of that penguin makeup, isn't an expert on Tony Soprano. But that's all right, because it's clear that the writers of The Penguin are.
Hey, hey, look at me. How far do you think you'd get? This scumbag? He disrespected me, you're gonna disrespect me, Vic? No, because you and me, we're in this together now. Which means I own you.
So much of Oz is ripped right from Tony's playbook. The leather jackets, the lying, the anger, the thirst for violence, the mommy issues. Both sometimes even maneuver out of danger in the same way. But like vultures flying to a rotting carcass, we need to circle back to the destructive aftermath of their actions. Because Oz and Tony make choices that have ripple effects everywhere. For as much as these two men value family, they don't really have a problem destroying their own.
I haven't been able to tell anybody this, but I'm f***ing relieved.
Really?
It was a tremendous drag on my emotions, on my thoughts about the future.
We mentioned earlier how Oz killed his brothers. Well, Tony isn't squeaky clean either. Sure, he didn't murder his sisters, but he did gun down his cousin Tony Blundetto. And remember how we talked about Christopher? Well, he wasn't just Tony's protege, he was his cousin too. We have an obsession with anti-heroes, and at certain points, these guys fit that bill. But when it comes down to brass tacks, neither of them have the makings of a good person. So whenever we think we can get close to them, we're painfully reminded that they aren't going to change.
This is yours?
This? Yeah.
Purple. Very subtle.
Well, technically it's plum. You know, leather seats come standard too, so.
You've really moved up in the world, haven't you?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Final thoughts. The Penguin treads much of the same ground as The Sopranos, and from what we've covered, it seems to have been done on purpose. From themes of violence and betrayal to characters acting like mirrors of one another, these shows were made to be compared. So is calling The Penguin a spiritual successor to The Sopranos valid? We sure think so. Are there any other comparisons between these two series you think we missed? Let's all share our thoughts over a nice plate of gabagool down in the comments.
Tony gabagool, Grandma. It's nothing but fat and nitrates.
Gabagool. Over here.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.